Empire doesn't have to respect Boosie. Young Blue does not have to respect Boosie, because we get into these situations where we think we're doing something out of the kindness of our heart. What is that?
In a world of glitz and glam, flashing lights and screaming fans, most people are unaware of the war that rages behind the scenes. And that war includes your favorite artist and your favorite songs. This is The Dark Side of Songwriting. Hosted by Nayim Edwards.
Welcome to The Dark Side of Songwriting. My name is Nayim Edwards. I am your host, and today we're back. Shout out to Colorado Rick for your financial contribution. Shout out to high-ranking fleet member Raji for your financial contribution. And shout out to everybody that's been spreading the word, sharing the show, putting your people on, getting the word out about what we do over here. It's because of people like y'all that we will continue to move unrestricted. Let's talk about Boosie, Young Bleu, and Empire, and how Empire absolutely tricked Young Bleu into betraying Boosie. You know, Boosie in our culture is literally, I wouldn't even put him no less than top 3 most respectable figures when it comes to hip-hop and hip-hop's culture. You know, Boosie is to be feared. Boosie is absolutely feared and respected, but that's only on the ground level. That's only with the fans. That's only on the street level. When it comes to the business world, Boosie does not understand that street credibility and all these other credibilities, when you don't have the knowledge and you don't have the power to back up what's going on in the business or the corporate level, it does not end up translating in 100% of the time, most of the time, if you don't have the knowledge to back up anything that you got going on, to protect what you got going on, it don't translate over there. Boosie does not understand that. Boosie is real to a fault. Boosie is a real human being who he does not mind being hated. He does not mind people coming at him. He does not mind whatever, because Boosie is an entity that we see. You know, sometimes it, like, realistically, sometimes he leans and bends and whatever, but Boosie has a proven track record of, he has his own mind, things go his own way, things are going to be how he wants them to be, or they're not going to be at all. Boosie, realistically, he lucked up when he ended up coming across Young Bleu. Boosie has powerful media connections. Everybody want to talk to Boosie. Everybody want to be around Boosie because Boosie brings traction. Boosie brings eyes. Boosie, he has, you know, that kind of momentum is because he has those media relationships. However, them people that's up at them record labels, and even though people say Empire is independent, Empire is the number 1 distributor for independent artists or whatever, because these people aren't independent. They got just as many connections and just as many friends as Atlantic, Universal, or whatever. And it took time for Ghazi to build up his empire, no pun intended, but it took him time to build up those relationships with the streaming services. So if you wanted to put out a song, he could have that song released worldwide within 4 or 5 hours. It took time to get that, and that is to be respected. However, Boosie taking all his media connections to push Young Bleu and push Young Bleu out there and get him interviews on Vlad, and when things start going awry, and I guess we'll talk about that in a second, but he used all his connections to put that visibility out there for Young Bleu, because Young Bleu is a unique sound. He's from Mobile, I believe, Alabama, and Young Bleu's music is actually moving, and he makes a whole lot of money. Now, how Empire got into the mix is Empire, Young Bleu is moving. He's having attraction. People like him. He not on the rah-rah. He not on the BS. He makes songs for women. He makes good music in that R&B hip-hop type of in-between. He know how to get up and just go to work. He's actually talented. He plays instruments. So he has very good packaging as far as being able to be commodified. Empire and every other record label already knew when they was walking through the door, we can just disrespect Boosie. Boosie is not a respected businessman in the regards of dealing with labels. He might be a respected businessman to people on the street if you want to sell pit bulls or you want to sell goddamn, chips or ramen noodles. But with them, Boosie don't know the business. Boosie don't know how to put no paperwork together to lock in his artist. Boosie doesn't know anything about really running a record label. When has Boosie ever had an artist on his label that actually took off before Young Bleu? It's never happened before. This is the first time Boosie has actually been able to have a person that could be commodified. Boosie's mistake was he did not have that paperwork, or I don't think they even had paperwork. That's, they go back and forth. Bleu said he won't on no paperwork, trying to be a homeboy type of situation. We'll speak on that in a second. Bleu said that, not Boosie. Whatever. They go back and forth whether it was a contract or it wasn't a contract. But the fact that we're even arguing about if there's a contract or if there isn't paperwork, already you just threw stakes in the ocean, and the ocean is hungry sharks, and those hungry sharks are labels. Empire was able to get in there because Empire does give you it gives you that appeal where you don't have to relinquish control of your situation, unlike if you sign to Atlantic or you sign to Universal or Warner, or pick a label, any label. Empire gives you that situation where we're gonna give you your money up front because we know you're gonna make your money back. You wouldn't be over there if you couldn't make your money back. They do have situations with Empire where people can just get logins and distribute their stuff through them, but you got to know somebody to get over there to be able to distribute your music through them that way. But when you actually go over there and say, I'm going to do distribution deal, I'm going to do a deal with Empire Records, I'm going to give you a little bit of money up front. I know that you're going to make that back. You're going to be able to keep everything after we get to the black, and the black means we can make a profit. You're going to be able to take 90% of your money, 80% of your money, 95%, I think it's like 85% or something in there. You're going to get most of your money. We're not going to own your fucking publishing. We're not going to own your tour. We're not going to do that. You're going to do everything yourself. All we're going to do is we're asking for a little bit of money in exchange so we can facilitate the services that we're providing you, and we're going to give you our connections. You just have to exclusively distribute through us. We're going to clear anything you want to. We're going to help get samples cleared. We're going to help propel you to the next level. So if you do want to go and sign with somebody that's bigger than us, we're going to get paid from that on the back end, but we already have the connections, and you're going to be in such a good situation. You're going to be so far ahead while being able to still claim independent that there's nothing that nobody that's on the ground level can do. Because my thing is, when you have somebody like Boosie, name recognition is not enough when you're playing with people who have the ability of life and death. And when I say have the ability of life and death, I'm meaning like have the ability to shelf a career or propel a career to heights that nobody has ever seen. Boosie does not have the ability to take an artist and propel them like Empire. Why? Because Boosie does not know. Boosie is in a good situation, but it's also a bad situation, and we're going to talk about that over on Paranormal Pentivity with episode probably tomorrow. But there are situations where you can end up blackballing yourself without even knowing you blackballing yourself. One of those things is like your attitude. Your attitude can absolutely get you blackballed if there's people. Now, I'm saying if there's people who have services and things that you need, and you just rub them the wrong way, or you do something that's disrespectful, or you say something that's crazy. One example would be if you come out and you scream, "Hey, I hate gays." If you came out and you said something like that, even though a person might be like, "I don't fuck with that either," they still would not, and I'm talking about at the corporate level, they still are not going to come out and be like, I'm against these people, because we know that in this music industry, you have no choice but to work with homosexuals. You're not gonna get around it. You don't know, and then the person that might have the access, we're not even gonna go as far as say they might be a homosexual. They might have a daughter, like somebody like Mike Tyson, where you have a daughter who's a homosexual, and even though I'm not feeling that, I love my daughter so much that I'm not even gonna let you even come over here nowhere near here as to upset what's going on in my family, because we're at peace and we're good, or they have the access, or they know somebody, or the person who has the access has the ability to get over there. This is why you should, I do believe that you can say what you want to, but you gotta already have your system and your shit in order to be able to say and do what you want to do. Because when you plan the business goes like this. The business goes like this. Everybody and their grandmother can be down here at the bottom, but the further you climb up into what you got going, it becomes less and less and less and less people. So if it's 500 down here, and it's 400 right here, and then it's 150 right here, and then it's 50, and then it's 12, and then it's 4 people. If you somewhere at 150, you're trying to get up to where them 4 people is at, so you can be at peak performance. Boosie doesn't have just unfortunately, I hate to talk about him like this, but like, he don't have the brain capacity to play with them labels in a way where he should have already known. And it's like, I can't be, it's messed up, because you should have loyalty. However, we're talking about people who are, all they want to do is be rappers, all they want to do is be singers, all they want to do is be musicians. So when you have people like Young Bleu, and it's like, you're just 100%, you play instruments, you write, you do everything, you know how to do the work. Nobody got to motivate you to get up in the morning to do nothing. When you go in the studio, I'm about working and getting every dollar out of the money that I paid to be in here. Then you're the person who's supposed to be in charge of facilitating your growth. Boosie, he play a lot, he always whatever, he's ruining relationships, he want to keep you at that street level, which that could work for some people, but for somebody like Young Bleu, who has crossover capability and has mass appeal type of capability, Boosie can't do nothing for you. So if I'm Empire, I walk in and all I gotta do is say, man, look, Boosie can't do nothing for you. He's not going to be able to get you to these, because all the things that he say, he think that it's all about keeping it real. No, like, his version of keeping it real ain't how we play keeping it real. And because you don't have no paperwork, ain't nothing there to abide by. Because we didn't do any type of business that was actually written down on paper, legally binding business. You do not have to respect Boosie. You do not have to listen to nothing that he has to say. Anything that is not concrete and set in stone, it might as well have not happened. And we don't have to pay him for signing you because you want to shake hands and be homeboys. We always say over here that you do not have any friends in business. Empire is not obligated to respect any business that Boosie does that is not legally binding. Nobody has to, you do not, and that's just a part of being ferocious. That's my word for the rest of the year, is ferocious, because that's what we're going to be over here. Like, I don't have to, as a corporation, respect anything that you do if it is not legally binding. Why? Because you didn't care enough about what you had in your hand to make it legally binding. So you yelling at me, give me my $2 million for my artist that you signed behind my back. If it was, because this, my thing is, if somebody broke a contract, if Young Bleu broke a contract that he had with Boosie, all Boosie would have to do is take it to court. Hey, we have legally binding documents. This corporation, this company, this LLC, whatever, they violated our agreement. I'm asking for this. That's pretty cut and dry. Like, it's not a lot that goes into this situation. It's not a lot. He's trying to make it like a maze, and Boosie wants to confuse the public because he thinks that he's owed something when he didn't stay on top of his business. Because if he was on top of that, Bleu would know 100%. I have to get out of this situation before I go do another situation. I have to pay to get out of this. They're not going to pay him And if they do pay him, it's probably gonna pay him to shut him up. But Empire doesn't have to respect Boosie. Young Bleu does not have to respect Boosie, because we get into these situations where we think we're doing something out of the kindness of our heart. What is that? Kindness of our heart. What that only exists when you go to your grandmother's house and you mow her lawn, or you take out her trash, or you see your mama need a new umbrella. You didn't ask her about it. You just went and got her a new umbrella. Kindness of your heart is not a thing in business. Kindness of your heart is not friendship and all this stuff. That has no place here. We're going to do this paperwork because I'm going to exhaust my resources into you to make you somebody. And if you feel like at the end of our contractual obligations that you want to go sign with somebody that is bigger, in the paperwork, it's going to say that you are going to pay XYZ amount of money. I am going to get XYZ amount of money. These are the benefits that I am going to receive, so that you get a clean break from me when everything is fulfilled. Did Boosie do any of that? Boosie didn't do that. And this is why Boosie is in the situation where Bleu don't respect them, Empire don't respect them. The music industry does not respect Boosie. I'm going to tell you that now. People can say what they want to on camera. Nobody would do business with Boosie if it came to an actual music career. They shouldn't. They won't. Because you don't know. My thing is, we talk about Diddy and we talk about Rock Nation and we talk about Cash Money and No Limit. Well, I wouldn't put No Limit in there at this point, but like, let's just say Cash Money. We talk about how crazy Cash Money is, but guess what? Birdman and Slim have that understanding that if it is not legally binding, it ain't happening. You're going to legally bind yourself to this before you get to be able to enjoy any of the benefits that come from what we have going on. Boosie he don't have the capacity to do it. He didn't care enough to do it. He wasn't on his thing enough because he felt like his mind only leveled up enough to facilitate being a street boss. His mind he's not the boss man in music. I'm going to tell you that now. Like, that's no disrespect to Boosie. It's just the truth. He's not anything close to being a boss man when it comes to this music. And that is the dark side of songwriting.